if you could give a couple pieces of advice to these guys who are watching right now about recruiting, what would be your biggest piece of advice? Like how would they get in touch with you and other coaches if they're interested in coming and playing at K? How's it going, guys? Josh here with No Doubt Showcases. We're sitting down with Matt Ellenbest, recruiting coordinator over at Kalamazoo College. And Matt's been here coaching up guys all day, doing a great job with our pitchers, evaluating all different positions. Appreciate you being here today, Matt. And what are a couple things that you enjoyed about today? Some things that you thought the guys got from the experience?
Well, I think personally for me, just kind of being here and working with the pitchers and having the ability to do PFP work, I'm a high energy guy and I like to have everybody moving around, especially, we did 3 lines today from a PFP perspective where guys were constantly moving and working on specific stuff with that. But it gives the guys a chance to learn. I think that's what's really important to the game at the end of the day, because I think as a former pitcher myself, you have to understand that PFPs are an extremely important thing in the game today. I mean, you have to obviously, besides pitching, you have to be willing to field your position as well.
Well, I think from a perspective of high school and summer ball, the PFPs and the awareness of where to be, especially that 3-line drill that you guys were running, that is something that you run all the time in college, and a lot of guys come in kind of unprepared. Correct. So to come in and to be drilling that and to understand how to do that as a freshman, you'll definitely stand out. That's what I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's a black and white game for me at the end of the day, but the fundamentals are extremely, extremely important. Where you got to go, get what bag you're going to, what base you have to throw to at the end of the day. I mean, that's what slows the game down as pitchers. You don't want to speed up the game for yourself at all, because that's when chaos can really happen at the end of the day.
You spoke a little bit about yourself as a player. What was your recruiting journey like? Like for these guys, I'm sure they'd love to hear about, what it was like for you coming in, and obviously how'd you get to where you got to today?
My recruiting process was a little different. I wasn't really heavily recruited. I was somewhat of a late bloomer when I was in high school. There was this one day I picked up a ball my senior year of high school, and it was set 90 miles an hour on the radar gun. I was very, very fortunate and lucky at the time to get invited to Ed Santa's showcase in Wixom, Michigan.
Ed's a great guy, yeah.
Ed's one of the best guys I know. He's become a friend, and I tell you what, that really had set the tone for me from a recruiting perspective. I stayed in Toledo at my aunt's house, and within a matter of an hour, I had a bunch of phone calls, and it was a very overwhelming thing. But at the end of the day, this is exactly what I wanted. For me, I ended up taking the junior college route. Best decision I ever made. I ended up doing and playing at Wabash Valley. Was there for a couple of years. After that, I ended up transferring to Morehead State University, which is in the Ohio Valley Conference. Was very, very blessed and lucky to have the coaching staff that I had there. I thought, in my opinion at the time, best coaching staff in the country. I still think they are to this day. I love them to death. They're very, very good friends. And, having the teammates that I had that are my brothers, but then the success that we not only had off the field, obviously in the classroom and in the community, but on the field as well. Being a part of the 2015 OVC championship team. I was a TJ guy, so I didn't have the opportunity to play, but I had the opportunity to experience that and kind of just be a good teammate, be a really big supporter for the guys, but again, it kind of led me to the coaching world. I spent my first year at a junior college in Southern Illinois at Kaskaskia College, and then upon that, I left, and then for 4 years was at Saginaw Valley State University, and like what you said, right now at Kalamazoo College as a pitching coach and recruiting coordinator, and that's been for the last 3 weeks.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I always love hearing the guys. Everyone's got a different story when it comes to recruiting. A lot of us weren't super highly recruited or needed some extra advice when it came to recruiting. And that's really why we started this whole thing, was to get guys in front of college coaches, but to help give them hey, think about X, Y, and Z. These are all factors in the recruiting process. Reach out in these type of ways. If you could give a couple pieces of advice to these guys who are watching right now about recruiting, what would be your biggest piece of advice? How would they get in touch with you and other coaches if they're interested in coming and playing at K?
I think for me personally, and this is such a great tool to have, and I wish I would have had it when I played, you have to utilize your resources as much as possible. Social media, email, even phone calls. I think those are extremely, extremely important. But with social media nowadays, it's easy for us to go on Twitter or to Instagram or whatever the case may be and go, we can watch this kid, and then we can make a phone call, be and then we have the opportunity to go see that kid. I wish I would have had that. Yeah. It would have been a great, great thing to have. But you know what? It's a very, very awesome thing to have nowadays, especially for kids that are looking to play at the college level. I think for me personally, as I've had conversations with people before, I know it's around the game that it's that Division I or high level or bust mindset. That's fine. It's perfectly fine. We all want high goals and expectations. But I think for me personally, as a recruiting coordinator and obviously as a former player and doing all those things and going through that process, is go somewhere where you're going to feel wanted. You're going to have a great enjoyment both on and off the field and in the environment that you want to be in. Obviously, competitively, it's going to give you the opportunity to hopefully go in and play as a freshman right away. I know most guys that want to play at the collegiate level want to go and play as a freshman right away. But again, it's entirely up to the athlete. I tell athletes all the time, is like, if you want to obviously pursue those things and you want to play as a freshman, be the director, not the actor.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's our job as a coaches to be there every step of the way, but you have to take advantage of your career. It's really, really important.
Man, I totally agree. It's some great advice. And like for all you guys that are watching this, like get after it and market yourself. Like use your resources of social media, edit some videos up, make sure you're using YouTube, go to showcases, like do whatever you got to do to get those verified stats. Like one thing I always thought was really important, and I coached at Wayne State myself, was like don't send, I hit 400 this summer. Like, we'll talk to your summer coach and we'll see where you're at with that. But like, we need to know what your metrics are, and like, not just, your metrics in your backyard. I want to know what, you go to an event like this or you go get a verified reading. Let us know what the reading is. Send us a good, quick piece of video. And that's really all we need, because we can make a determination from there.
And I think to piggyback off of your stuff, other than the metrics aspect, for me personally, obviously going and watch a kid too, I'm really big into seeing how well you handle your bad days. I think that's what's extremely important. I think for me is that if you go 0 for 3 and have 3 Ks, are you still hustling on and off the field? Are you still going to be a good teammate? Are you still cheering on your teammates? Or are you just going to sit there and pout in the dugout and whine and complain and make the excuses that you're going to do? Because guess what? This is a game of failure at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to accept the fact that you are going to fail.
Yeah.
Okay, but having that short mindset and going, you know what? I'm going to have another opportunity to play, to really go, you know what? That 0 for 3, hopefully I can turn into 1 for 3 or 2 for 3 and maybe go 1 for 3 with a sack fly where it gave us a chance to win the game.
Hell yeah.
It's really, really important for me to go, you know what? I need to see how he can handle, no matter how talented, how well he can handle his bad days rather than his good days.
Agreed. Overcome adversity and win the next pitch. Absolutely. You have to.
Absolutely.
Matt, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for coming out here. You're always out at our stuff. We appreciate you being here, man. And just good luck with everything coming up with the season. And guys, you can follow us on Twitter. We'll add our Twitters on here. We're always posting advice, always giving updates about the colleges. And make sure you follow us, No Doubt Showcases on Twitter. Appreciate you guys. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.